The views and opinions of the Craig L. Hayes Show do not necessarily reflect those of Westgate Resorts ownership or management. And now, on with the show.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Get your copies while they last. Stop the presses.
And now for something completely different.
Are you ready for a little truth? Are we not entertained? Wisdom is the proper use of knowledge and experience. There are no safe spaces here. The truth shall make you free. It's showtime! So you want the truth, but can you handle the truth? Well, here's another fine mess you've gotten us into. Now that's entertainment. Enlighten me a little. What you say is quite logical. And what did we learn? Prepare yourself for a little sensory overload. I came here for the truth. 7 years ago. Stand by the roll show intro. Roll show intro in 3, 2, 1, go.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
Hello, America, family, friends, and listeners all around this planet we call home. This is the Craig L. Hayes Show, and I am Craig L. Hayes. Today is the 16th of December, 2024, and we're continuing on our series of interviewing people who work behind the scenes in show business and have been doing it for many years. And before I go, I want to just before we go any farther, I'll let you know that we are doing this show, as most of these shows have been done, from the Westgate Resort here in Las Vegas in the International Showroom in Elvis Presley's dressing room. We are quite honored to be doing it here again, and we are so glad that Cammie Christensen, the president of the hotel, Don Rawl, and John Pierre have all seen fit that I'm allowed to do this while I'm no longer working here at this hotel. Anyways, thank you guys for letting me do this show and continuing getting a history lesson to everybody about the history of Las Vegas and backstage and show business. And today's show, like I've said, is about people who have worked behind the scenes for many years. And I got a friend of mine that I have known for at least 35 years and probably longer. And we've done so many shows together and so many years in the same trenches, and it's not even funny. And I'm so glad he's here today, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his life, what he's done as far as his career in show business, which has been pretty varied. He's been all over the place and done some pretty interesting things, and I think you're going to find it interesting. And his name is Rico Grippo. Rico, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Craig.
So glad to have you here. So, we've been together a long time, man.
Long time.
I'm thinking about it. I was thinking about this last night. I was like, okay, I knew you had Splash, but that was like in 88, 89, somewhere in there. And then from this way forward, so yeah, it's been at least 35 years. I mean, you've been in the hall longer than that, and so have I, but, as far as working together. So, but we usually start these shows off, and we talk a little bit about where you came from. I know you're not like myself, a Vegas native. You came from other parts far and wide. And we start off by just telling me a little bit about you. It's kind of like a little bit of a bio on you, and tell me a little bit about you, and then we're going to move on to where you got into show business and how you got into show business. But we'll start with as a youth.
Well, as a youth, I was born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts, and as a child, had I ever dreamed of being a Vegas stagehand and seeing how the sausage is made behind the scenes? Absolutely not. But as fate would have it, that's the path, that's the direction I took, and it's all in relation to who you know, what experiences you have in life, and how they bring you along into a direction you never thought you'd take.
So I know you're actually from the East Coast, Boston area. Are you a Red Sox and Patriot fan guy, or?
So as a child, I saw an awful lot of Red Sox games. Kenmore Square, where the famous old ballpark, Fenway Park was only probably 5 miles from the house. And my mother worked in Kenmore Square at a restaurant and bar and a hotel there that after the games, a lot of Red Sox coaches and a few players, depending, would show up. And so I had an endless supply of tickets to go see ball games. And I was always a Red Sox fan as a result of that. In my era, it was Rico Petrocelli and Carlton Fisk. But as fate would have it, Vegas has become such a mecca for sports now. They just keep adding pro teams. And it's hard to be almost a 50-year resident of Vegas and think about the old teams you knew in your youth and thinking, well, Golden Knights.
So were you a Boston Bruin guy too?
I was. I'm from the Bobby Orr, Ken Hodge era.
That's okay. I don't have any hockey team I follow because born and raised in Vegas, we never had hockey, so we didn't care. So.
Yep.
So let's see. You got that. How about the football Patriots guy? Did you go to a lot of games on Patriots stuff?
Not so much with the Patriots. That stadium was outside the city, and a little bit more of a commute in Foxborough, and never really went to a football game until I was an older guy, and I saw one in L.A. and I was like, wow, that was kind of cool. I don't ever want to go through what it took to get there or get back out, but the game itself was enjoyable.
Yeah. So are you, now that you're here, are you a Raiders, flag waving fan?
I can't say that I've really embraced football. I watch the ball games once in a while. They're usually because it's a bowl game of some sort or a Super Bowl, but not necessarily a football fan per se.
So when they get the baseball field built here, are you going to go see Boston when they come here? You're going to have to, right?
Yeah, how can I not? Absolutely.
See, I'm an Angel guy, okay? So mine, I'm like, even though I'm retired and living up in Utah, I am coming back down here when my Angels play Vegas, and I am going to sit in whatever red section there is or green section and cheer for my red guys. I don't care. So,
There you go.
that's what I did. I did that back in New York at a Yankees game, actually. Wore my red all over the place and walked into all kinds of places that only Yankees are supposed to go. And I was like, what are you going to do about it? Huh? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Huh? So, no, I'm a baseball guy. I like baseball. Football is pretty fun. Basketball, I like playing that. But I am a Boston Celtic fan. Even from the West Coast, I was never, ever a Laker fan. My son is a Laker fan, but I am a Boston Celtic. Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Parrish, that's the guys that made it. So I'm a Boston fan. So anyways, growing up in Boston, so you got the sports under your belt, plenty of baseball. Man, that would have been so cool. Oh man, I wish we'd have had a stadium here growing up and been able to go see baseball games here just by taking the monorail over to it and walk across the street. Oh man, that'd have been too sweet.
In Boston, we had the T, the MBTA, Mass Bay Transit Authority, and that trolley, that T, not as extensive as New York, but as a young guy who discovered, wow, I can go places. Young teens traveling, taking the T. Opens up a whole new world when you have that type of transportation available to you.
Yeah. So how long did you stay in not in Vegas, in Boston before you moved out to Vegas?
I was 15 years old when I moved. And when my mother moved to Vegas, I had the option to stay in Boston. I have two older sisters, my father, of course, stay with them, or take this adventure to Vegas with my mother, who's purpose for moving was to open up a restaurant, a lounge, and a nightclub here in Vegas back in the mid-'70s. I moved to Vegas in '75. And that was kind of the pathway that led me into being a stagehand, ironically. But the hook was the fact that her business, the Attic, was connected to the Ice Palace.
Oh, that was your mom's place?
That was my mom's.
I know where that place is, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, the guy, you know where I lived, right down this down the street from it. Heck, I know Commercial Center real well. It's the Attic. That was your mom's, huh?
Yep.
I'll be darned. See, there's something else we just learned.
The people that owned the building, they were the Carlos. They rented that section of the building out, and I became friends with the son of the Carlos, and I had all the ice time I could ever want. And it was a great thing because that was the hook that made me say, wow, let me try this place called Vegas. You know, I don't know anything about it. People in Boston didn't realize at my age what Vegas was, but it turned out to be quite an adventure.
Well, Vegas in '75 was 200,000 people, and you could get from one end of the town to the other in about 20 minutes, 20 minutes, no problem.
Yep.
You know, not like that now.
Times
No,
have changed.
nothing like that right now, I'm telling you. So, yeah, I didn't know you hung out there because I was always at the Ice Palace, man, because I'd go up there and go ice skating all the time, you know. I found it quite fun. And then they turned it into the Roller Palace or whatever else later when, you know.
Yeah, they reopened the building. The building closed because of some issues. There's a foreclosure for the building, and that negated the sublease that my mother had there, and the people that wound up buying the building didn't want to pay for the refrigeration of the ice. So they said, hey, what a great roller rink opportunity.
Yeah, it's a big one too, man. It's a full hockey rink. I mean, it's a full hockey
size.
rink. You know, it's full size there. Yeah, I used to go see the Outlaws. Remember the Outlaws?
Oh, yeah.
That's
Triple A team, like.
yeah. I went and saw it a couple of times, but you know, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool, but it's not my thing. You know, hockey. I want to go play some baseball or something. You know? So I'd have been you moved to town. I'd have been about 13 or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I dug that area up there. Commercial Center was a pretty cool happening place. Not like that anymore. It's quite the rundown area in that whole thing. No more Vegas Village, no more Von Tobels, no more any of that stuff.
Right.
You know, all that's gone. But change will happen. So you get to Vegas when you're 15, you said?
Correct.
When you're 15. Boy, that would have been a pretty interesting time to come here from Boston. How'd you like the first summer?
I could not believe what I had experienced. So I moved in October. I think it was right towards the end of my 15th year. And one of the things that I was so amused with was, of course, Christmas was only a few months away. And you could get a gift for Christmas and actually take it outside and play with it. You can't do that in Boston. You get a new bike, you get a skateboard. I got a skateboard. I didn't know anything about skateboards. I got a skateboard, and I could take it right outside and jump on it and start wheeling around. I'm like, I don't have to wait for the snow to thaw and be able to go do this. It's pretty impressive. And Vegas was very comfortable in October. Thought it was wonderful. Then July and August comes, and you're like, this is hell.
Yeah,
How
why does anybody
people
live here? Yeah, exactly. Why does anyone want to live in this place? Oh, my heavens. No, I totally understand that side of it. It's just, oof. You know, born and raised here, so I never thought anything of the summers, you know. Never thought it was
Part of life.
summer was summer. You were outside from the sun came up till the sun went down, the streetlights came on. That was it. You were outside. Where I lived over there was desert all around us still as a kid, you know, and it wasn't too far from this place. So, no, that's pretty, yeah, your first summer. It's kind of like when I moved up to Utah into that area I'm in, that first winter I had to deal with snow. I was like, what the heck is this crap? You know, but then I kind of like it because it gave me exercise, something to do. Go push the snow out of the driveway and around the place, you know. It's not Boston snow. It's snow that's there for about a week or two and melts, and then a week or two later you get another batch of snow. You know, not the East Coast where it sits there and sits there. So you get here, you're 15 years old, you go into school. What school did you go to?
Oh boy, that's a story. I started out in John C. Fremont, And the way Boston school system was, and I lived in a town directly outside, right near Kenmore Square, which is technically the line between the city and the burbs, the suburbs. I lived in a town called Brookline, and that school system, you were in kindergarten through 8th grade in that school, and then you went to the school's high school as 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. When I moved to Vegas, I wound up in John C. Fremont as a freshman in high school, as I thought, but no, that's not the way the school system was then. I was in John C. Fremont, which had 7th, 8th, and 9th grades in them, and then you went to high school. So I started in John C. Fremont, and then after that I went to Las Vegas High School. And where I lived, there was no bus. You had to walk, and it was a good walk. I lived relatively close to the commercial center, actually very close to the commercial center, so that was my pathway to go to Fremont.
Where at? Where do you live at?
When we first moved here, we lived in an apartment complex in the Las Vegas Country Club.
Okay.
And it was where my mother set up shop because it was so close to the commercial center. You just had to
right across the
Karen,
street. Yeah.
and you were there. But we were only there for, well, as long as the business was open, and then we moved. But by then I had already left Las Vegas High School, or they left me, I don't know. But I didn't get along so well. The principal told my mother that I wasn't cut out for that school. I should find a different school.
A troublemaker back then. All right. I'm starting to learn a little bit more about you, Rico. Yeah, finding out some stuff here. So you went to Fremont. What class did you take? Any band? Did you take any?
I did take band, and in fact, it's funny because
Mr. Sherman?
exactly, I was going to say the name of the guy. Like, I remember Mr. Sherman, and I met a guy in there that was also in the band, and at that time, my musical skills were drums, but the teacher that I had in Boston, this fellow named Manny Wise, only taught me snare drum and technique, and I had never moved from that for several years. And then when I moved to Las Vegas and I wound up getting into the band class with Mr. Sherman, that skill set served me well, because they actually had a little marching band and they had a little orchestra band, and I was cut for that. And then by the time I had gone to high school at Las Vegas High School, I mentioned there might have been a few little skirmishes there that caused me to leave. And I went, there's a story behind this. I don't think your podcast is that long, but I wound up going to Bishop Gorman, and I got involved in what they called their tri-music, TRI. Had to do with the jazz band and the orchestra and the marching band. And I got along fairly well there. That's where I wound up graduating. And I still hadn't really started playing music outside of orchestra type music until I got to Gorman, and that I got to spread my wings a little bit in jazz band there and had a lot of fun. It was enjoyable.
I'm going to take you on a little tour here. I think you're going to go, whoa. You're in 9th grade. You're in Mr. Sherman's class. Your first period is band, basically. Okay. Second period is choir. I'm in choir. Second period. Okay. Then, so we crossed paths at Fremont constantly. Every day we crossed paths at Fremont. Because you were in 9th grade. You're my brother's age, my brother John. You're his age, because he was in 9th grade when I was there in 7th grade. But you were in Fremont's band while I was in choir. Okay? Then you go over to Vegas High. Were you in marching band there?
No.
Okay. Now, the guy that I rode unicycles, remember a unicycle act there called Unicycle Times 2? It did the talent shows and all kinds of stuff there. That was me. Okay?
Isn't that
with
funny?
Eugene Balmain, who was the tuba player for the band, for varsity band, for your ninth grade varsity band, whatever it was. And then he'd stay and do choir. So that's how we met, was in choir, and we started riding unicycles, and we started doing shows all over town. So 1 year later, you're at Vegas High School. I'm still at Fremont. I'm still doing the shows for unicycle acts all over town with my buddy Eugene, called him Butch. And he's in marching band, and he goes, hey, get your unicycle. You got to come over before school starts and rehearse with the high school band. And I'm like, why am I going to go to Vegas High and rehearse with the marching band? He goes, because we're going to play tuba and ride unicycles while they're doing their marching thing. I was like, I don't play tuba. And he goes, you don't have to, just look like you are. Doesn't matter. And so I was in marching band for Vegas High School, playing tuba, not playing tuba, riding my unicycle, and on TV all the time for that. And it was just, I'm in 8th grade in a marching band at Vegas High.
That's funny. See how
Isn't that insane? I mean,
that's a classic. You've been in entertainment since you were a kid.
oh, since I was a kid, I'm telling you, that was, like I said, that was until 9th grade. After 9th grade, I was like, I'm done with the unicycle stuff, you know. I had other things going on I wanted to do, not riding unicycles and practicing a couple hours a day on it, because you can get good on them, but to stay good and do tricks and all kinds of crazy stuff, you've got to ride them and stay strong. Your legs have to be so damn strong. I mean, my legs were never stronger than when I would ride unicycle literally a couple, 3 hours a day. You know, I'd ride my unicycle over to Fremont from where I lived.
Oh, wow.
We'd do a whatever, blah, 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 and then I'd ride it back home. Then I'd find places to go up, downstairs, upstairs, do all these crazy things, you know. So, yeah, I was a unicycle maniac. And then we had all of our different sized ones from 6 foot, 8 foot, 15 foot, all these different ones that we had. So it was crazy. Knew McPeak pretty good. Steve McPeak, I don't know if you remember him. He was out of the local for a while, but he rode that 100-footer right out in front of this place, out in the parking lot. 100-foot unicycle.
Wow.
The man was a maniac.
I'll have to see how he got on it.
Well, he had to do it with a crane. He had to get a crane to lift the thing. It was huge. This thing, it was 100 feet. Literally, it was 100 feet. Look it up sometime. What is the tallest unicycle out there? And it'll show Steve McPeak on top of that thing. And he's got a harness on because, you know,
Just in case.
you fall off that thing. It wasn't like falling off of an 8-footer where you got about 4 feet or 5 feet before your feet hit the ground. 100 feet, you got at least 95 feet before you're going to hit the ground. So, whew, scary.
Was his last name really McPeak?
McPeak.
Because
Yeah.
it seems so fitting for a 100-foot unicycle.
Yeah, McPeak. Yeah, Steve McPeak. Look it up sometime. Yeah. But we rode unicycles with him so often. He happened to see us rehearsing one time and stopped and pulled his unicycles out, and then we all rode out in the street for a while. And then later on, I'm at Design Concepts here in town and doing some work, and he's there again. I'm like, man, I can't get away from this guy. But anyways, cool, man. That is so cool. Let me look at my clock here. We do about 25 minutes. Oh, we are almost on the money right here. So we'll just stop right here with this episode, and then we're going to move on to what happened after you got out of high school. We want to hear some more about this high school. You getting in trouble, you know. I like the idea that old Rico got in trouble.
It could happen.
You know, it does happen. So anyways, hey, Talbot, take it away.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
All right. Take just a couple minutes here and we'll start again. See, 25 minutes goes by fast. I mean, people don't believe when I say
Was that 25 minutes?
that was 25 minutes, yeah. That's why I tell people, I go, once you start talking, I go, these shows just bap, 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 bap. Nathan Miller did 5 episodes, you know, but you know Nathan, he'll just,